Washington Grown is brought to you by the Potato Farmers of Washington. Learn why Washington is home to the world's most productive potato fields and farmers by visiting potatoes.com. And by the Washington State Department of Agriculture, supporting the viability and vitality of Washington agriculture. And by Northwest Farm Credit Services, supporting agriculture and rural communities with reliable, consistent credit and financial services today and tomorrow.
Hi everyone, I'm Christy Gordson and welcome to Washington Grown. I'm here in a canola field in Almira, Washington. And Washington farmers do a lot to take care of our natural resources, especially our soils. So in this episode, we're going to learn the unique ways that farmers are protecting our environment. I'm visiting a canola field in Almira. I don't think I had enough gusto.
Yeah.
Then I'm making a Washington apple cake at Just American Desserts in Spokane Valley.
Make sure you watch your thumb there.
It's been 9 seasons. I haven't lost any fingers yet.
Good.
Can you believe that? Plus, Val's visiting a pulp mill where they use unused wheat products to make paper.
You know, this is wheat straw that is normally just left in the field and it's in the way for the next harvest.
All this and more today on Washington Grown. It's hard when you're as short as I am.
Come and see Christy sheep.
Ta-da!
It's like I can taste the sunshine.
Cheers.
Bring him in. Bring him in.
Boom.
The calories are adding up.
No calories in this.
You don't get to do this every day.
Need the perfect cake for a special occasion or just a little late night snack? Just American Desserts in Spokane Valley has everything you need and even more. Pop in for cakes, cookies, pastries, and overall anything that's sweet and delicious.
We always come in for special occasions because their cakes are delicious.
It is the best cake I've ever had in my life. Super moist, very delicious.
When you walk out the door, you have something pretty and it's always delicious.
And this is your place, your dream.
It is.
Right?
It's my dream, my passion, my life.
Baker and owner Eva Roberts started baking when she was young, perfecting her craft until she had created some of the best cakes around.
I know as a child, I remember my mother had a 1950s Betty Crocker cookbook. And I remember I would turn the page and do a different recipe, every few days. And I loved the dessert section.
We've lived here 41 years, so I don't know exactly when they opened, but whenever it was, we started coming here and we still come here.
Fantastic. Oh my gosh, you could tell it's high quality ingredients.
They're very good cakes, very pretty, very fresh.
They can make anything you want, any way you want it, so it's always a pleasant experience.
You don't go into the food industry thinking it's a quick buck or, it's a passion. I love what I do.
Don't miss later in the show when Eva and I make a special Washington apple cake.
I'm sorry. Let me finish this up. I'll help you.
Drive by this gorgeous yellow field and you might think it looks like something out of a painting. Here on 5th Gen Farm in Almira, farmer Jesse Brunner is growing canola. We started our day by following his daughter Paige through the maze of yellow flowers. Well, I had no idea that canola was this tall.
Yeah, and it'll get a little bit taller still. I mean, if we have a good crop of canola, it'll get well over 6 feet.
These are so much bigger than you are. Yep. It's like a jungle. Jesse primarily grows wheat, but uses canola as a rotation crop. The diversity keeps the soil healthy and strong.
A rotational crop is just something different. Canola is a great crop to grow in and of itself, but it actually allows us to grow better wheat because we break those disease cycles and we introduce more diversity into our system. Wheat's roots are more fibrous and spread out. Canola has a big taproot, and that pushes down through the soil compaction, breaks things loose. That allows better water infiltration. It allows more air to get into the soil and makes all those soil critters much more happy, which in turn gives us better yields. Our particular style of farming, it's a 2-year fallow rotation. After a field's harvested, it'll sit basically dormant for a year. We won't allow anything to grow on it. It just accumulates moisture during that year so that we can plant a fall seeded crop, whether that's canola or wheat, and then it'll be harvested the next year.
Most people don't know what they're looking at. They just drive by and they think it's a beautiful yellow field, right?
Well, and it certainly is a beautiful yellow field. Canola is a challenging crop. It's definitely made me a better farmer overall. We've been growing wheat in this area with pretty much the same practices for 80 years. And so we have wheat pretty well figured out. Canola, every year it's something new. There's always new challenges to be overcome.
So what is this for?
So this is a sweep net, and this is what we use for checking for insect pests in canola. What we're trying to do is we get 180-degree sweeps. We do 10 of them. We'll see what we got.
Did you get some bees?
Oh, there's one. There he goes. Now let's see what we got in here.
What we're looking for is cabbage seed pod weevils, a pest that eats the pods of the canola.
We have 2, so that's really good. We don't really get worried about them until we get up around 20. So at 2, I'm actually optimistic that we might not even have to spray at all.
Now it's my turn to try the sweep net. I'm gonna pretend like it's a lightsaber.
Exactly. And you're just trying to drag the net through the canopy of the flowers, because that's where all the bugs are.
Like that?
Yep.
Okay, and
With
then take a
gusto.
step. Did you say with gusto?
Yes.
Okay. It's hard when you're as short as I am. Not a whole lot. I don't think I had enough gusto.
Yeah.
To keep his farm eco-friendly, Jesse practices a style of farming called no-till farming. This means he doesn't put anything in the ground other than the seed, allowing the soil to maintain its structure.
By not tilling the soil, all of the carbon that's pulled out of the atmosphere into the plants is preserved from the organic matter that's within the soil. So we're taking the CO2 out of the atmosphere, putting it in the ground where it's safe and protected, and it stays there for a long period of time. We're offsetting carbon emissions that come from all around the globe. It's important to me to continue this legacy that's been built up for over 100 years. I look forward to this being the 6th generation farm. I'm playing the long game. I don't want this farm just to be sustainable during my career, but I want it to be here for them, and hopefully they can pass it on to their kids whenever that time may be.
We've had our first hard frost here in Spokane, so I'm getting ready to remove all of my tomatoes. Tomatoes are something that I take a lot of care in removing because they do have a tendency to harbor a lot of pathogens that will carry forward into the coming year. So when I'm getting ready to harvest my tomatoes for the final harvest, I lay out a big tarp, and then I cut the tomato plant at the base and I pull the entire plant out and set it on the tarp. This enables me to sort through the fruit on the tarp, keep it nice and clean, and then I'm able to kind of go through it in a nice tidy space. Now when I'm going through my tomato plants, I'll pick up the entire plant to find the base of the plant before I cut it. And then I'm also looking for ripe fruits. So you can see in this guy here, I have some beautiful ripe fruits just hiding in the base of the tomato here. So when I cut that, I'll be extremely careful not to push on these guys because they'll be pretty soft. After I've cleared all my tomato plants out, I also want to make sure that I take out any of the leftover foliage that's on the ground and any fallen fruit. When I'm done doing that, I'll remove any of the roots that are left in the ground. There's pathogens in tomatoes that can persist in the soil until the coming year, and you don't want to have those in your soil. A great rule of thumb that you should always pay attention to is to never plant something in the same space that you had it in the year before. Take notes on how much fruit you have. Did it fruit well over the season? Did it not? Did it look kind of punky? Did you like the fruit? Make sure that you take notes on all of that stuff so the following year you have a bountiful garden full of fruits that you absolutely love.
Did you know that canola is actually an acronym? I'll tell you what it stands for after the break.
Coming up, I'm making a special Washington apple cake at Just American Desserts.
Thumb up is a good idea.
It's been 9 seasons. I haven't lost any fingers yet.
Good.
Can you believe that? And we're in the kitchen at Second Harvest, trying out some pumpkin sheet cake.
Canola stands for Canada Oil Low Acid. It was developed to have low uric acid, making it fit for human consumption.
We're back at Just American Desserts in Spokane Valley. Here, the only thing more consistent than the delicious treats are the rave reviews from loyal customers.
26 years ago, my husband and I got married, and we actually used Just American Desserts for our wedding cake.
My mother-in-law got married 30 years ago, and they baked her cake. My fiance said that was his favorite thing about the wedding. So we had to buy our cake here, and we've been hooked ever since.
We've been buying cakes here for a long time.
Business started in 1986, so this is our 35th year.
Baker and owner Eva Roberts does what she does not just for the love of her craft, but for all the smiles she puts on people's faces.
I'm making memories for people. I have people that come every year because they have to have the tuxedo cake for their birthday.
We love the apple.
Today is a cheesecake,
Tuxedo is a favorite in our house.
red velvet,
Chocolate fudge cake.
carrot cake,
Cookies and cakes.
It has the chocolate chips mixed in with the cream cheese.
Cakes for birthdays, anniversaries, dogs' birthdays. You know, you name it. I probably have made a cake for it.
All local, all delicious.
Awesome. Well, what are you and I going to make today?
We're going to make Washington apple cake.
Okay.
It has applesauce in the cake, chunks of Granny Smith apples. The closer to home you can get your ingredients, the better they are. Our apples for the apple cake are from Yakima. Just perfect for Washington grown.
And these are our apples.
They're from Yakima.
Yeah.
They're Granny Smith apples. Yakima grown. Yeah, with the cake, oh, it's just delicious.
We start with the dry ingredients. We add flour with cinnamon, baking soda, baking powder, salt, and sugar into the mixer and combine them. Next, we add 4 eggs, applesauce, and canola oil.
One thing about baking is you want to make sure all your ingredients are at room temperature. If you're creaming butter and you've got all that beautiful sugar and butter in a nice fluffy way, and then you add this ice cold egg, it'll seize up the butter.
Finally, we add apples and nuts. Mix one more time and then bake the cake at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. So we have our beautiful cakes, and these are cold.
You never ever want to work with a room temperature cake. It's very hard with the crumbs, it's very tender, it'll fall apart. So we chill everything really well.
We start by leveling the top of the cake and then cut it in half horizontally.
Make sure you watch your thumb there. Thumb up is a good idea.
It's been 9 seasons. I haven't lost any fingers yet.
Good.
Can you believe that?
Now this is the fun part.
Okay.
This is the good part.
It always looks easier than it really is. Let's just preface that right now.
Simple. So the first thing we're going to do is going to put our layers together, but then we're going to crumb frost the cake.
And what is that?
Crumb frost is put a sloppy frost on, just a thin
Sloppy
little.
frost.
Well, it's just to seal in the crumbs. If we freeze it or refrigerate it for a few minutes after we crumb frost it, then all that frosting gets hard,
Okay.
and then we can put a nice, pretty frost on the outside.
This is so bad. I'm so
I'm sorry. Let me finish this up. I'll help you.
Next, we put the cakes in the freezer for just a few minutes to let the frosting harden. Now it's on to the final frost. We use a special serrator to add some texture and pipe the corners with frosting. We put some dollops on the top and finish it all off with some hand-piped decorettes.
So there you have it, our Washington apple cake.
Look at that! We won't show that part. Don't look at that part. Nice fresh apple.
The cream cheese buttercream just goes so well with cinnamon and apples. Oh man, not bad if I say so myself.
Good job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
To get the recipe for Eva Roberts' Washington apple cake, visit wagrown.com. Throughout eastern Washington, you can find wheat fields as far as the eye can see, and in the past few years, you may have seen some other crops appearing in those fields as well. On a hazy day from regional fires back in July, we spoke with Chad Kurger, the director of WSU's Center for Sustaining Ag and Natural Resources, to learn more about how farmers are adapting many practices in eastern Washington.
We've been growing wheat for, 140 years here, and so we've had a lot of success with that, and we've tuned our systems to making that crop work, and we've only been growing alternative crops 10 to 20 years in comparison.
With wheat being such a successful crop in eastern Washington, why have we started seeing new crops growing in the region?
So you're in a stubble field following canola crop. What we've come to learn is when you're only growing that one crop, you develop other problems. Weed problems, disease problems that start to take away the success of the winter wheat crop. And so looking for an alternative crop like canola in this case and getting other crops to the point where we can successfully grow them is important just because they help break up weed and disease cycles.
Alternative crop production has other benefits as well. It's just one of the many tools farmers have developed to reduce carbon emissions.
The very act of growing food or eating food is going to generate an emission. And we've seen pretty dramatic shifts in terms of those production practices, a lot of reduction in tillage. The soil is actually a very large stock of carbon. And in these dryland regions of the interior Northwest, Tillage is a pretty big challenge for us because it's been critical for addressing, how do you grow a crop in this really arid environment? But we've got to switch that and reduce the amount of tillage that we do because it's taking all the carbon out of the soil and releasing it to the atmosphere. But that's not enough. And so other options of looking at alternative crops, reducing the number of years that we have fallow, where there's no crop growing, using the water we do have to produce biomass, some of which goes back to the soil.
Practices like these are appearing more and more as farmers and scientists work to improve Washington's agriculture system.
What we also have in this state is really innovative farmers, because they're going to be able to take the knowledge that we can generate in the science community and the practical aspects of what they do with technology and management, and they're going to be able to marry those and make the good decisions that are very site specific about what can I do in this field versus what can I do in the field 5 miles down the road. And that's what makes things exciting, is when you're working together to advance both science and the practice of what we're doing.
Coming up, Val's visiting Columbia Pulp, where they take byproducts of wheat harvest and make paper.
This is wheat straw that is normally just left in the field and it's in the way for the next harvest.
Late summer in Washington is fair season, and I think it's time to indulge in some deep-fried goodness. Owner Joey Azar of Azar's is deep frying, well, just about everything.
We try to do more unique stuff, stuff that you're not going to find in every fair. The deep-fried Philly cheesesteak is becoming popular. The deep-fried pizza, the mac and cheese is a favorite. Deep-fried cookie dough on the sweet side is my absolute favorite.
All right, time to try some deep-fried food myself.
This is probably my favorite part of the job. Look at that.
Some deep-fried bacon.
That is stupid good.
Deep-fried pickle.
I like pickles.
Deep-fried mac and cheese bite.
Look at that little nugget of goodness right there.
And even a deep-fried s'more.
Are you kidding me? That is so good.
Time to give people what they want. Some deep-fried pizza and deep-fried Philly cheesesteak.
Look at the size of that
it's
thing.
Cheesy!
Yes, it is.
This is gonna get messy.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's like a big Tony's pizza roll. This is magical.
So they got a winner here, don't you think?
I think so.
My arteries are like, but I'm like,
Once a year, right?
Maybe more than that.
Maybe more than that. Ladies and gentlemen, look who I found at the fair.
That's because I'm hanging out by all the deep fried food.
Right. Since you're here, I figure we might as well have you try a little something. Okay.
Oh yeah. It's a Hot Pocket.
It's like a Hot Pocket. That's what it is, isn't it? I'm gonna get myself a sandwich because she took mine.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. Today we're in Dayton at Columbia Pulp, where they're pushing that concept even further forward.
We convert wheat straw into market pulp that is made into pulp and paper products.
Kyle Lovegren is the plant manager here at Columbia Pulp. He makes sure things are running smoothly so that all this straw can become something even more.
This is wheat straw that is normally just left in the field and it's in the way for the next harvest. It doesn't have a whole lot of nutritional value to it, so it's literally a waste product that needs to be removed. Southeastern Washington especially is a high yield soft wheat producer. Putting us in the middle of high yield wheat country is important. We're right here by our product and we can learn from it. As timber became more valuable, the thought to look for another waste stream to convert into pulp and paper has really been around for quite a while.
I started this 25 years ago along with another individual.
Dr. Bill McKean of the University of Washington first conceptualized this process many years ago. Today, it's exciting for him to see his work come full circle.
I'm an academic, and it's very unusual for an academic to develop something that is scaled up into a commercial operation. So this is very satisfying to see this happen.
For me, it was a really great opportunity just to go be part of something new. There were pilot facilities and there was a plan in place, but we had not done it yet. It was literally when I saw the first sheet come off of the wet lap machine. I went down to the convenience store and bought the nicest bottle of champagne they had there.
At the convenience store.
Yeah.
I'm toward the end of my career, and it's exciting to see this commercial venture that will help out the Eastern Washington ag industry.
Now Kyler's taking me on a tour of the plant.
The reason wheat straw works is we're really just looking for the fibers out of the plant material. So it's really just about separating those fibers out and then giving those to the customers as a supplement or as a replacement to fibers they would take out of a tree. The chemistry has happened. We're now draining the moisture out of the product to prepare it for refining. So like I said, we want to go after those fibers. These things are just separating those fibers. So just be careful, don't get your hands in there, but...
Hot diggity dog. And so again, that's just going through and then squeezing and squeezing and squeezing.
Right, as it comes into here, it's in a liquid form. So this is the fibers coming out of that.
Those are some pretty big fibers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Here, they even reuse the water in the process, reducing it down to create biopolymer.
That's then marketed as a dust control agent, a fertilizer binding agent, basically a sugary, sticky molasses that probably doesn't taste like molasses.
So our theme is really there's no such thing as waste.
Right. This is our final product that's wet lap pulp that goes out to pulp mills in the area. They will then take this and incorporate it into their process. And they'll make paper products such as cup stock like this. We have other customers that will bring it in and they will mold it into clamshells, paper plates.
This cup is made with 32% wheat straw.
Right.
From the wheat fields in Washington.
We're in the kitchen at Second Harvest, ready to taste some food made by people who post their recipes on allrecipes.com. So I have my taste testers with me today. I have Tomas.
Hey, everybody.
Famous for tasting food. And I have Chef Laurent. And Chef Laurent is actually an instructor.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
and I see you have your hat with
yes,
your
I
chef hat.
have my toque.
Is that what it's called?
Well, in France it's called.
In France it's called, okay.
Une toque,
Yes.
chef's hat.
Chef's hat.
And yes, instructor at Spokane Community College. You know, all those years of learning, I finally now have a purpose in life to teach. So that's great.
And they're going to learn so much.
I know.
So let's see.
You wanted a hat.
I want to see how handsome you are in your chef
in my hat. Oh,
yeah.
I don't know how handsome, but it's a big hat. It's not. You can,
right?
Yeah, I know. It's.
Okay, so now it's official.
I'm a
yes, chef.
Yes, we chef.
Yes.
Yeah, we chef.
I love it, and the students are lucky to have you.
Well, thank you very
teach
much.
them
I appreciate
about food.
Thank you.
So this was the canola episode, and you saw lots of great things about canola. It was fun romping through the canola fields. They're beautiful when they're in bloom.
You can't miss them. They're scattered all throughout Washington. They're beautiful.
You know, and it's different than cooking with olive oil and that sort of thing, because sometimes you need the canola oil.
Completely. Olive oil can be a little overwhelming in some dishes, especially in vinaigrette.
Right, for baking too, it's good, and we saw that with Eva Roberts at Just American Desserts here in Spokane.
Great.
She, like you, has been on the Food Network.
Yeah, but I think she did better than I did. I mean, you know, I had two experiences, one with Bobby Flay and one with Guy Fieri, and I haven't watched them yet. And
you haven't?
No, I don't like to watch myself on TV, so.
And so we get to taste pumpkin sheet cake. Speaking of baking, right?
Yes,
pumpkin sheet cake by Sandy Rowe. We're gonna taste it here in just a second, but first we're gonna find out how we make it. This looks amazing.
That looks great.
Yeah, it looks like a carrot cake.
It does.
Right?
Pumpkin sheet
Ooh,
cake.
it's moist.
And I like pumpkin bread, pumpkin muffins, pumpkin
bars.
pie. Oh, it's nice and soft and moist.
The walnuts on top, there's a perfect crunch. They're not an overpowering nut.
Some of the comments, DK Hall commented, this recipe is a keeper. I took it to a Halloween party and I've been eating on the leftovers all day.
That addition of vegetable oil into the cake brings a little more moisture to the cake.
Okay,
Sure.
there you go.
So if you would like to try to make your own pumpkin sheet cake, just go to wagrown.com and you'll find the recipe.
And find my address so you can send it to me.
To get the recipe for this pumpkin sheet cake, visit wagrown.com. Washington's farmers are not only teaching us how to be stewards of the land, but they're also leaders for the rest of the world. That's it for this episode of Washington Grown. We'll see you next time.